Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, whatever place it is that you're joined on to Life Signatures Radio. We have been discussing in a long series, and I promise you it is still going to be long because this topic is important. We've been discussing the topic of meaning. And what we've been doing is going towards what I'm going to start today. We're going towards injecting meaning into your life. How you can inject meaning into your life. Before we got there, we've been laying a foundation towards that, and we saw 4 ways in which you can know you don't have meaning in your life. You can review those episodes. And then we saw 4 ways in which you can know you have meaning in your life. You can review yesterday's episode. It gives you a summary on all these things. But today we are going to start talking about the specific methods, the specific ways you can use to inject meaning into your very existence, into your very life. If these things are making sense and blessing you one way or another, please share it with your friends, your loved ones, and people that you know need to have meaning in their lives. And also, whatever place it is that you're listening to this, please subscribe therein. It's a daily podcast. Don't miss an episode. Stay tuned.
Welcome to the Life Signatures podcast with Lawrence Namale. Lawrence is a life coach, author, and keynote speaker who loves to tackle different topics on purpose, productivity, and resilience. His mission in life is to awaken all your boundless possibilities available in you. Life Signatures podcast is dedicated to bring to reality every single person who knows that deep down in their gut, there's got to be more to life than this. And now, here is your host, Lawrence Namale.
How can we inject meaning into our respective lives? Our lives vary from one person to another, but there is one uniting factor, the reason for our existence. Of course, that reason for existence varies also from one person to another, but each and every single one of us has reason for existence. The human species is the only unique species that has this kind of a conundrum where you've got to have a reason for living above the reasons for survival. Other animals, they've got to survive. The bees have just got to make their bees and so on. You never find a bee that doesn't make the bees. Make honey. The bees have got to make honey. You don't find bees that don't make honey. You don't find lions that don't hunt. You don't find fishes that don't swim. You don't find birds that don't fly unless they are chicken. And chicken, you don't find chicken that don't scratch looking for worms and so on. Anyway, let me not digress. There is a reason for the existence of the human being. That reason is what we call meaning. It is what we call purpose. Viktor E. Frankl has written a powerful book. In that book, he actually calls it, this book is Life. The book is called Man's Search for Meaning. Let me tell you, that book has been translated in nearly all the continents are represented. All the languages in all the 6, do we have 6 continents? They are represented in translation in Viktor E. Frankl's book. That tells you something, that human beings are really looking for purpose. There's something that I want to quote him on. He said this. He said, "Who to him who saw no more sense in his life, no aim, no purpose, and therefore no point in carrying on, he was soon lost." This is Viktor E. Frankl talking about what he saw as a physician in the concentration camps, in the Jewish concentration camps in the 40s, the Hitler camps. He saw people dying early, and before they died, they actually died. In other words, they gave up on life because there was no meaning. There was no meaning in life. Friends, we've got to find a way of finding meaning in our lives at all times. A grandparent might find meaning in looking forward to the graduation ceremony of the grandchild. A grandparent might find meaning in looking forward to handing on the baton of inheritance to a grandchild or to a child, whatever it is. The moment we find no meaning in life, we are lost. That's what Viktor E. Frankl observed. Let me read to you that quote once again. He's giving an assessment of how people used to die in the concentration camps. He said, woe to him, in fact he said, woe to him who saw no sense in his life, no aim, no purpose, and therefore no point in carrying on. He was soon lost. That's a warning sign for all of us, guys. It's a warning shot that if we don't have meaning in our lives, if we don't have purpose in our lives, we will soon be gone. So I want us to start learning how we can inject meaning into our lives. And at different levels in our lives, we have these feelings of emptiness that force us to reevaluate, to rethink. Why are we here? Different people react to these feelings differently, by the way. And some people will look at it to feel this emptiness by the outside in kind of an approach. They buy a car, they get another wife or another husband, they go and they eat, they go and they join clubs, and I've talked about some of these things. And some will ignore these feelings, these feelings of emptiness. They just move on to the next task in life. In other words, they populate their lives with tasks and upon tasks upon tasks. We've talked about this in the previous episodes, that meaning cannot be wished away when it's asking for you to clarify it. You cannot wish it away by just filling your life with tasks. After the task is completed, there's going to be that disillusioning feeling that something is missing. And I've highlighted different ways you can know that you lack meaning. And I probably didn't cover all of them, but there is sufficient enough. The four that I gave you, they're sufficient enough. And all in all, the heart of this message, the core of your being, is central to giving you feedback on whether you have meaning in life or not. And I said about this in the episode yesterday. You don't need a prophet. The core of your life can give you an indication of whether you have meaning in your life or not. That's why people might have a look at your outside appearance in life and they might see the gadgets, the smiles. By the way, speaking of this, there's a guy, I think it's called Twitch. By the time I'm recording this, he's just committed suicide. Twitch, 24 hours before he committed suicide, he posted a very lively video of him dancing and smiling all over the place. 24 hours later, he was dead. It's possible to have a facade going on in life, and I'm not saying that he had a facade. I'm just saying that without meaning, activities will not help you. The same can be said about accolades, achievements, every outside-in thing that we're trying to do. Your core, your very essence will give you feedback and will tell you whether you have a facade going on in your life or whether you have whatever it is that relates to meaning. But that being said, we need to start talking about how exactly we can inject meaning into our lives and have realized one thing. We might need to do this not just once, but several times at different moments in our lives. We need to inject meaning. When you start a project, it's kind of like you've injected meaning into your life. When the life cycle of that project ends, you need to inject again meaning into your life. When you retire, you inject meaning into your life. You repurpose your life. When your purpose expires, it doesn't expire, but when a temporary purpose ends, you need to inject further meaning. It's something that we need to keep doing over and over and over again. Probably the only remedy, if this is the word I'm going to use, is to get the real reason why you were born, why you exist. And that's why maybe you might not need to be re-injecting purpose into your life at all times. We need to start doing this. Even the people who have already discovered their purpose in life at one point in time, they will feel, I talked about this, they will feel lack of meaning. I talked about this in a long series called about disillusionment. This might not be emanating from the purpose, but probably from the lifestyle that they are leading and so on. Now, there are several different things that I can think of that you and I can do in order to inject some semblance of meaning in our lives and into our contexts. Of course, the 7 different ways that I'm going to talk about, they will always be contextual. Don't take this as if it's a secret or it's a formula. No. Purpose is amorphous, your life is amorphous. There are contexts that normally shift and they normally vary. They will vary from one season to the next, and from one life to another, and so from one person to the next, and so on. Other aspects such as your environment and culture might come to play, but the core of finding meaning is you. You are the core. You are the biggest ingredient. You know, when you're making beef stew, what is the biggest ingredient in making beef stew? It is beef. You remove the beef, you don't have beef stew anymore. In finding meaning for your life, you are the biggest ingredient in here. Without you, there is no knowing. So I'm afraid I've stretched my time, and I might not be able to introduce and amicably share with you the fast way in which you can know that there is, in which you can inject meaning into your life. And we're going to do that starting with the episode tomorrow. How exactly can we inject meaning into our lives? Even as we do that, I want you to go with this one takeaway. You are it. It is not a prophet. It is not your teacher, although these people play a very critical part. Prophets, teachers, parents, mentors, coaches, all these people that we look up to, heroes, they play a critical part. But you are it. You are the core. You are the main player in doing this. If purpose or meaning has to be injected in your life, you are the one to do it, not somebody else. Tomorrow we get deeper into this. Until then, bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to Life Signatures Radio. If you enjoyed today's show, subscribe to Life Signatures Radio on iTunes, Stitcher, or visit our website at lifesignatures.libsyn.com. Life Signatures Radio, fresh, clean, and inspiring.